10 a.m. Mountain Time. Zeb's fixing the camera there. If you joined us a minute ago, we were trying to use some new software, but didn't work out. So we're doing the old ways, just straight through our phones. We are taking this dresser that one of our followers found by the dumpster and texted us, and we were able to save that. And then we have a mirror that did not belong to this dresser, but that somebody dropped off for us at the shop. And we're going to take this dresser and this mirror and turn them into one piece.
We're going to marry them up.
If you like these kinds of videos, make sure that you've hit that subscribe button, but also YouTube's been a little bit wonky lately and not showing notifications. So make sure you also click the bell and make sure it says show all. So that way you know when we're going live. You have to do that periodically, because if you don't interact or make YouTube know that you like our stuff, every now and then they just unsubscribe people. It's crazy.
Well, and also, here's the thing, more than the bell, if you're not interacting with the channel and liking the stuff and commenting and clicking on the videos when they show up, it's not going to show you anyway, no matter how many bells you hit.
Super weird, but we're super excited to be back here, and we are going to go ahead and get started. One of the techniques you're going to learn today is how to do a raised stencil, how you can make texture and kind of blade it over the top and then remove it, and then you get the impression on your drawer. So we're going to be doing that with our new bird stencil, the Bird Toile, the new release from JRV Stencils. And then we're using salt wash in our paint, not for like chippy texture, but just for a raised texture. So we won't use as much. We're just going to thicken up the paint a little bit.
We are going to get rid of this texture though. You can see this big pink blotch. Someone used the top of this old antique serpentine dresser to use like do their nails or something, or spilled like a whole thing in nail polish. That's not the kind of texture we want. We want it to be uniform, not just like weird blobby texture. So I'm just sanding it. This is 220 grit because I don't want to get real down below the finish of the wood and start bringing those tannins out from the wood.
Yeah,
especially on an old dresser like this.
A lot of people, you guys know that we don't have to sand before we paint using the DIY paint, but just know that whatever's underneath is what's going to show on top, which in this case is good because we're going to be showing that raised stencil through the top coat of paint, but we don't want the hot pink blob situation to come through. So we've got to get that mostly off of there. I wonder if we hit it with a magic eraser.
So I've got it pretty flat. I don't know
that
we're
want
going to get the pink off.
Pink is pink, but that's why they got rid of it was, you know, they thought, oh, it's gross, it's old.
It does have some veneer damage. I'll bring you in closer so you can see it on top. It's got some scrapes here, probably just moving damage, broken things. But overall, the veneer's not bubbled. It's in pretty decent shape. So it's just got some cracks and dings and stuff. And then the knobs are not matching. It's got a big scrape down here on the front of the dresser. So it either needs like a pretty serious restore or paint job. And since we found it by the dumpster, we're gonna go paint job.
We're gonna go paint. Well, and it's a good candidate for that. It looks like the dovetails are machined, so they're not hand done, which means it's not like super, super old. And I think that's, maybe just stand it right there. Now we go and check comments real quick.
I think if we put enough paint on this and don't distress like right here in the middle super hard, we'll be okay.
Can you do texture in a screen stencil? I don't know. I think it might be difficult in the screen stencils because you have to get it through the screen. They actually make like the paste and stuff that you use for that are pretty thin. So I think you might gunk up your screen. So that might be a little difficult with that.
Yeah, it's not made to really go through that. Are you talking like the screen print style stencils?
Yeah, so not the traditional like thick Mylar. Because if you think of your shower drain, right? When you have too much gunk that goes through it, it gets all clogged up because it goes through all those holes.
It doesn't even take that much gunk. Sometimes it's just a few strands of hair.
Just takes lots of long hair. Same thing with a mesh stencil. I would assume that would kind of gunk it up, and then to get that out of the mesh stencil, they're more delicate than these Mylar ones, so you might rip it and ruin it. So maybe try it on an older one or a cheap one and see if it works, but I don't think it would work as well.
All right, are you doing salt wash? Is that what this bowl's for, is mixing salt wash?
Yeah, it looks like the stream is clear. So if your stream is unclear, make sure you're checking your resolution, because we do stream in higher resolution than some people are set up for, and that can sometimes change that. All right, so we have salt wash. Going into our bowl, here's up to do. I grab a fork for that. Odelia, I see some cheerleaders with a present.
They're gonna knock on our door in the middle of live stream. Odelia is 16 today. And they're looking at me through the window like, why aren't you answering the door? Here, go through that way, sis.
Go in the mudroom door.
She's coming around.
Sorry, they might be kind of loud yelling happy birthday out there. Cheerleaders are not known for being quiet. We dropped off 6 dozen donuts to all 3 squads today for her birthday, and tomorrow's the big Sweet 16 party. That's why we had to get back from Vegas at almost midnight last night so that we could be here for her birthday.
All right, so I'm just gonna pull all these knobs off.
You were planning on making a lot of aviary mix because that's a lot of salt wash.
I can use it for a ton of things. So as you can see, the knobs on here are excellent. They're super matching and just what the doctor ordered for this.
I probably should have poured some of that out because we're not making a regular salt wash. You want it to be about 2 parts paint to 1 part salt wash.
Oh, well, you can always add a little water.
I'm probably gonna have to.
Oops, I pushed that back in. I need that out.
It's my fault. I should have just dumped it out.
I didn't know how much you wanted, so I went 2
Or
scoops.
make sure you were listening when I was talking.
I still would. I was listening. I still would have made 2 scoops. I like to have extra. I'd rather have a little extra and save it for the next project than not
Yeah,
enough.
when you're making traditional salt wash, it's like a 1-to-1 ratio. But when you're making just a texture medium, you're just trying to thicken it up. Think of like using like a spackle type paste situation. I like the salt wash better because it doesn't change the color of your paint. And it really adheres well. So I'm just gonna mix this up and make a little chunky mixture situation.
So people ask us about salt wash all the time, what it is, what it does, and I mean, the DIY paint already sticks to everything, but if we add salt wash to it, we're doing like ceramics, glass, everything, and it gets like rock hard when it dries. And then if you seal over the top of that, it's a super solid, durable finish that gives you a fun texture. And you can brush it smooth if you want. You don't have to leave it textured.
Well, you can sand it smooth.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying happy birthday to Odelia. Yeah, I love serpentine pieces, Kai. It's so fun. I love the anything curvy is my favorite. So I was super happy to get this. We actually wound up going to her business. She saved it and put it in her foyer, and she patiently waited for us to find time to get over there. It was actually late. Oh, Yumiko sent Odelia a birthday present. Thanks, Yumiko. She will enjoy that.
Did we get a super chat birthday present?
Yep.
Awesome.
We've got to get her finished with her driver's courses so she can get her license.
So I'm gonna be off camera, but these have like the square kind of bolts on the bottom. Can you see those? I don't know if you can even see them. They're like right here. I'm just gonna use pliers to pull the backs of these pulls off.
So I want to show you the consistency. I feel like this is really helpful to know what it should look like for texture. We're gonna try it. If we need to add more texture, we can. Oops, try not to fling that on there. It's got a few chunks in it. If you're worried about the chunks staying in there, you could also maybe use an immersion blender. So we'll see. I haven't done this technique in a hot minute, so hopefully it turns out all right. Laura, Vegas was good. It was hot, but the AC was cranking in the convention center. For those of you that don't know, we just got back last night at midnight from Vegas because we were there buying new clothing. We sell vintage and antique finds, but we also have a section on our website that's JRV Closet, and we carry clothing. And so I was on the hunt for some new pieces, specifically looking for like unique pieces, well made. We're gonna carry some higher end like staple pieces from well-known brands. We've got a little bit of that going. And I also was looking for plus size. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm just being honest with you, they don't carry it. Like, I found some brands that had it, but some of them were like, oh, you want plus sizes? And I'm like, yes, I do. Because I'm looking to try to carry things that go from like small to 3X. So that way all, like a majority of sizes will fit my followers. So that way if I'm wearing something, I have it in sizes that would fit everybody. And they looked at me funny, and so I was just really annoyed by that. So someday I'm gonna make my own clothing line, and I'm gonna encompass all the sizes.
This is how all of the stuff we make comes about.
It's a 2022 or 2023 project, but it is going to happen. Mark my words. We actually met some amazing
So you
people.
said these were machined, but these are hand cut though.
Are they hand? They looked machine on this one.
Nope, they're hand cut.
Okay, I lied. They're hand cut. We actually met a couple of people from the Netherlands that work directly with a factory in India.
And they have been for like 20 years.
Beautiful work. They know all the people. They know the conditions and how things are done there. And so we might be working with them. We'll see. So.
Oh man. So one
Looks
of the.
like pureed baby spinach, Sandy says.
Did you show them close? Are you ready to do that on the top?
We're doing it on those drawers.
On the drawer faces? I'm
Yeah.
just pulling knobs off. So.
Once you get started on that, I'll start painting this. We might not get to the mirror today, but we wanted you to.
Well, I can show you guys how the mirror goes on. It just screws on. It's a little wide, but the way that the router detail is on the edge of the mirror, we think it's going to work. I could cut it off and just make it fit perfectly and, you know, jigsaw the edge and sand it to match and all that fun stuff. But it's just like a 1/2 inch wide on each side, and I think it matches the style pretty well.
Vicky says, I have been all the sizes. Me too. So has Deb.
Yep. Any given year, I can lose 20 pounds, I can gain 20 pounds.
When you're 6'2", I feel like it's totally unfair.
It really fluctuates. Right now, I'm up 20 pounds.
I'm like, really, I should have saved my pre-construction clothes from while we were building the house. But we're about to work on the church, so I'm like holding out hope that we'll have to buy a new wardrobe. Let's see.
All right, all these are off. So we're salt washing with the, we're squeegeeing that on, right?
Yeah, we're gonna squeegee this on. I actually kind of want to see it in action because I haven't done it yet. So where are the squeegees? I have them up here. Did you move them to the other side? I have the new IOD. They're in a box.
I haven't moved them, so hard to say where they're at. They're over here.
Oh, well, you know, they got almost there.
Okay, I'm gonna bring the camera down so you guys can see this close in action, what we're doing here.
Oh, okay, I got a towel. So you could just put it up here if you wanted to.
I still don't think that's gonna be a good angle.
I just don't like a good angle of me squatting. It's not my best angle.
Well, we'll put it up top then. We'll put it where you want it.
So IOD has these new silicone blades that you can use for painting, adding texture, but they also work really good for raised stenciling.
We're not gonna take this down, we're just gonna go?
We're not gonna what?
Okay, so all you guys can see is the drawer top here right now.
I think we should start in the middle.
This is the new floral. It's, so the register marks are actually in the pattern. It's super easy to line up.
I don't sell the jeans I have on.
You know what? I'm gonna take this little keyhole off. It's gonna mess with my system.
Jane says, I blame the heat too. I think my body swells. I always gain weight in the summer because we have like 5 birthdays, all 4 of my kids plus my mom, and then our anniversary. So all the treats, man. All the treats. Okay, so we're gonna center it so that way it kind of ends on the same note on each side, and there's a little spot on each end where you line that up and you'll be able to repeat the pattern with, like, so it looks like one big pattern.
Yeah,
so does that look good?
Put that
You like
somewhere.
it? Aviary, and it's like a...
Yeah, the mix looks great.
Do you want the little blade or the big blade? I think little.
I'm gonna go little blade.
Do you want me to tape that on there for you?
Nope.
All right. Here goes nothing.
I just, you know, sometimes when you're doing stuff, you can't be apprehensive about it. Worst case, we lift this up, it's all smeared and weird, and we wipe it back off.
So you can kind of see where the Mylar is. It kind of scrapes across, but then it sticks down into the stencil. And it's really hard to do this type of technique with a cheap stencil that's not thick, because you need that thickness for your texture medium to sit down in. So that's one of the things that makes the JRV stencils unique, in that we make our stencils thick enough that, like, when I manufactured them, my manufacturer's like, are you making construction stencils for sidewalk? Oh, and I just realized I did not put makeup on.
It's fine, you're beautiful.
I do have some left over from yesterday. We passed out when we got home last night, and then this morning we got up super early because we had to pick up donuts and pick up Eliza's cheer backpack, and we got our new stencil brushes in, so we had to go check on those.
So this didn't take too much. On the bigger ones, I am like pulling it back out.
So just be careful not to press too hard. It's fine if it's on there thick, Zeb, because when we pick it up, like you don't have to scrape so hard, so make sure there's not any.
I'm just hoping I didn't brush it underneath. All right, lift your side,
Okay.
same time as me.
1, 2, 3, lift. Oh, perfect.
It turned out great.
I would just let that dry.
Just let that dry and then we'll sand
and we
it.
just sand it off.
Good
All right,
call.
did it go to the other side? It did not. So my only thing is we probably need to heat gun that before we repeat it so we don't
it's
push it.
gonna be hard to see on camera, but this has probably a 32nd of an inch raise. How many are those? 15 mil?
No, they're like 17
Are they 17 mil?
I
The
think
stencils?
we claim less than they are because we want to give people like
Oh, you can kind of barely see the peaks when I angle it like that, but it's gonna be a really fun, rich color on there. Let's do another one.
Let's do the other drawer so this head can dry before we
I'm gonna go
place
set
it
this in
down.
the sun. I'll be right back. You might hear the neighbor mowing.
Yeah. Is it Sharon
Yeah.
out there mowing? Okay, we're gonna do the next drawer. It's a really easy technique, guys. We've done this, like legit, it's probably been a year and a half since we did this. And this is a great way to take a kind of busy stencil, but once we paint over the top of it and then wet distress to bring back the aviary, it just like tones it back and just makes it like a subtle texture.
I mean, I gotta pull off this little keyhole plaque. So guys, I finished. If you've been waiting to see that one that we painted, was it Salty Kiss that we painted it, and White Swan, and did the the
3 weeks
decoupage
ago?
paper? It's been done, and we just need to move it in the house and take a good picture of it.
Here's your mix.
We did not have time.
There you go. You know, I'm gonna do, Zeb, I'm going to start painting those drawers because we're going to stencil on those drawers, but not the raised stencil, just like a cute little part of it. So.
All right, I'm gonna move this back a little because you guys saw how that went down. If you're watching the replay, back it up about a minute and a half and you'll see how that stencil went on there. And Jamie's gonna be over here painting while I do another one.
Come back and screen.
I'm gonna see if I can find some tape since you're not gonna be holding that one side.
Okay, I can hold it for you if you want me to.
No, it's okay. We gotta get on with the project.
Oh gosh, this one's not coming off. Can you take this one off for me, sweetie?
Oh, yeah.
I just need to paint. I'm gonna paint this because on the top, we're not gonna be doing the all over pattern. I'm just gonna do a little bit in the corner and not a raised stencil. I'm just gonna go over the top. Or should we do raised on this too? What do you think? Like just a section.
We might be able to. Did you get that other plaque off?
I was thinking, what? Yeah. Do you want to do raised or do you want to just do a traditional, like regular stencil over top?
I mean, we probably could do raised over this, but
No, I
you're
don't wanna-
really stretching my...
Well, I wasn't going to do the whole thing, like just in the corner.
Mm.
What do you think? Let's just do regular.
Okay, regular.
I vote regular. That was the original plan. I'll stick with it. I'm just going to be back here, paint this door white.
Oh, you're gonna go way back there?
It's fine. They don't need to see what I'm doing.
Yeah, they do.
They do. You guys want to see me paint something white? I'm sure they've never seen that one before.
Watch out for the rug. Got kicked out this morning.
Well,
It moves, it's really a traveling rug. It moves by whatever door we're making a mess at.
well, this door, because the house is 100 years old, the house goes down at an angle, so it's fine here, but as you open the door, it like goes all the way down to the floor. So we can't have a rug because it just pushes the rug back. They don't make a rug that would stick there. So I'm just using DIY's White Swan. And this is the color that the whole dresser will be. I'm just painting it over the top of this drawer, and then we will do a little stencil in the corner.
All right, I'm still nervous. You know, we love to try new things for the first time on a live stream. And we've done lots of raised stencils before, but not with the squeegees or the salt wash. We used a different
Did you get the other one off?
What?
The other top off
The
that
other
I
little
needed?
key plaque, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just throwing this on here and spreading it out. I was nervous to like smear it, but you smear it all over almost like you would with a screen, a silk screen.
Yeah, it's fine for it to not go all the way down. Like you don't need to see the Mylar through it. You just want the spread to be even, if that makes sense.
And it's actually not taking much. You're right. I mixed up way too much
well,
salt wash.
it's my fault. I totally should have been like, I'm gonna have to dump half of this out, but I just went with it because it was live and I panicked. Sometimes that happens. People are like, why did you do this? I'm like, have you ever been on live TV before? Sometimes you just don't think things through. I still get nervous.
Every time you say panic, it reminds me of that meme you read me the other day.
Oh. I saw this meme the other day. It's like, sorry I slapped you. You kept talking and I was worried you wouldn't stop and I panicked. I just think that that's maybe how people feel about me because I talk a lot.
All right, so how long did that take me, guys? Was that 30 seconds? Maybe a whole minute to do this, and then we're gonna let it dry. I'm gonna go see how that other one's doing.
Yeah, I need a heat gun. I'm gonna heat gun. It's gonna take 2 coats of this.
It just goes on so well, and it's thick enough that it doesn't run underneath the stencil.
I had everything out with the heat gun, but that's all right. That's pretty good. Usually I have like 8 things missing.
Okay, I'm gonna go put this one outside, see how it's thin enough. I think the other one's probably drying pretty quick. It's about 85 out there right now.
Fall is coming. We're getting down into the 50s at night. We still get into the 90s in the afternoon, but it's nice to have the cool mornings. So I'm just drying this so I can put a second coat on it. The nice thing about DIY paint is it's all natural, clay-based, 5 times more pigmented than regular paint. So like a traditional white over the top of this dark, you would need multiple, like 3 or 4 coats, and we're probably gonna get away with 2 here.
So the thing I love about the salt wash is there's a lot of different ways you can get texture for your paint, but it sticks really, really well, and it doesn't change the color of your paint. You can kind of see how this is drying out. That would look the same if we had just had straight paint with the stencil. I wanted to show you guys this. You can kind of see it here. Let me see if I can hold this up and show you. These are the register marks. You see the straight line? These ones hanging over are what you line up on the next stencil, and that's your register mark. So let's see if I can, it's still a little damp. I'm gonna try to not mess it up.
If you are heat gunning your paint, make sure to move your gun often so you don't get crackle and bubble, which will happen. It's best if you just let your paint air dry.
I hope I put my birds right side up on the other stencil.
Well, I mean, if we didn't, we'll just finish this drawer and that one will get sanded off. It's just paint. How many of you guys watched our video we put up on Monday with my cake? We thought that was fun, kind of showing you one of our family favorites, a little different than paint. We might throw in a few more recipe videos every now and then. Mostly I made it because I had talked about making the cake on Facebook, and a lot of people asked for the recipe, and I just thought, you know, it might just be easier than writing it out
There's comments for you.
make a video. And it was. We really just banged it out. We didn't really put much thought into it. We just filmed it just the way I make it at home. Kai said that the salt wash with the stencil is genius, so much texture.
Yeah, it's
And
good.
everybody said the cake looked delicious. So some people have even already made the cake and sent me pictures of it, which is
We
fun.
love seeing your projects. So if you're in the Jami Ray Vintage group, or if you just want to DM us like what you're doing, we see those. Like we get the notifications still. So it's fun to interact and see that and see what you guys have going on. Okay, I got too much on this one.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but if you're wanting to buy the paint and the stencils that we're using, you can head over to jamirayvintage.com. These stencils, we have retailers, so you can find a retailer at jrbwholesale.com. Just check with them ahead of time, make sure they have the stencil you want, and just know that not every retailer carries all the same products that I do, so keep that in mind. I just want to let people know. Sometimes people will be like, well, they didn't have DIY paint or they didn't have sweet pickings. Our retailers only carry the products that we have, and they don't carry all of them. We have quite a lot of them, so double check. Usually they can get in whatever it is that you want. Was I channeling my inner Joanna Gaines? Oh my gosh, I love Joe's new cooking show. It's so good. I actually had a cooking show before Joe, though. We have one video on biscuits and gravy. If you're interested, look up Cooking with Jami Ray. It's a YouTube channel, and there is a biscuits and gravy video we made, what, like 3 or 4 years ago?
There's one. It's special.
It's special.
Jamie basically tells you if you want to get yourself a man,
Make
cook biscuits and gravy.
And
now it's a fun inside joke.
Yeah. We thought that we would make lots of cooking videos, but at that time we were just like crazy busy.
We might get back to it, right?
Yeah,
we
we
might.
thought about it. And Zeb has some recipes that he's really good at, so it might be fun for you guys to see some of his specialties.
I'm always,
He does
I
breakfast and
like using recipes, but I always amend them. I'm like, this needs a little more salt, this needs a little more fat. It'd be a lot better if it had more baking powder, you know, things like that.
Well, when you're cooking meat, some meat comes saltier and fattier than others, so you can't really just have like a set amount of salt that you're adding. Is that high? I need a new heat gun. This one is dying a slow death.
Okay, so same thing on this side, those same register marks just lined right up. I've got a leaf here and a, oops, almost lost the whole drawer. A leaf here and a leaf there, and now we're lined up so that the pattern will just keep continuing on.
Maggie says, hey, making biscuits and gravy to get a spouse works in the South. First thing my granny taught me. So my family hails from the South. My mom's family from Texas. I did not learn.
Your dad's family's from West Virginia?
My dad's family's from West Virginia, and then they moved to Michigan, but West Virginia originally. And I did not learn how to make biscuits from my mother or my grandmother, but I definitely feel a connection to my past as I learned how to make a recipe, and it is similar to what my grandma used to make. And it took, Zeb ate a lot of rock hard biscuits that really needed that gravy before I finally perfected my biscuit recipe. And homemade biscuits are so good. My kids just love them with just like butter or jam.
It's so good. It's like a special request for birthdays and things. Like for my birthday, I'm gonna get some biscuits and gravy. Alright, I think I may have needed to wash the stencil off because I am getting a little not muddy. I don't know if that's the right term, but not as crisp. And I feel like some has pushed up underneath this last time I ran it through. Oh no, we're good. Oh, I did smear it up here on top, but I think I did that when I laid it down. It's gonna be okay. We'll just let it dry and run with it. Yeah, so see up top here, I smeared. It came through up top where it went over the edge of the drawer, and I smeared that on the dresser top and didn't catch it before I put this on. It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna haul this one out and do another one. Let's see, can you guys see that where it's starting to dry in the middle? And then at the very end, I'll finish these edges. Hopefully we can get this dry enough. I'll go try to do that other one real quick.
Well, we can stencil this one.
Yeah.
I'm almost got it dry, so just 2 coats of the white swan. I do have a little bit of crackle in there because I laid it on thick, but we're wanting to give this dresser an old look. If you want to make your paint smoother, a couple tricks that you can do is to dip your brush in water or spray your paint with water to thin it out and make it smooth. And then you can also take your brush, dip just the tip in there, and then hold your brush horizontal with your piece and gently pull it across, and that will create less brush strokes. In this case, texture is the name of the game, so I'm not afraid of it. But I know that's not everybody's jam. This one's ready for stencil, the other one.
Need get a towel or something. Do you want me, so are we gonna go white over the top of these?
Yes, we are.
The aviary?
Eventually there'll probably be some sort of like wax situation, but yeah, so these are painted in white swan and ready for a stencil over the top. So I'll wait till you're done with that. How is it? Is it building up behind that?
No, it squishes out over the edges sometimes.
Oh, I got
Just on the end where it's like not sitting on the drawer.
Okay. That makes sense. Let me get back to comments.
All right. And I'm just using this one little piece of tape to hold this end. I'm gonna bring it close so you guys can really watch how this goes on. Jamie's looking at comments, or is she replying to something?
I'm so sorry. Running a business over here.
Distractions.
No, just taking care of emergent needs. Okay, I'm back to comments.
All right. Okay, so I'm using just a pretty good glob.
All right, so is this the first time you've done a second stencil or the second time?
Second time I've already.
Did the other one dry fast out in the sun?
Yeah, I'm drying the middle parts, yep.
Okay.
And then I'll have to do the edges.
Well, it won't, this side we won't have to because, oh, the little bitty parts on the edge.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing.
Because you do, I think you do. No, it's done.
I think that the paint's so thick that once you kind of get it on there, it holds the stencil in place.
Yeah, it does. It kind of sucks it down
like
to
double
it, and then you
duty.
peel it up out.
So you could, if you wanted to, if you had a bigger bowl, these come with a bigger blade, so you could probably accomplish the same thing
Or just
faster.
mix it up on a plate.
Yeah, so if you wanted to do this size stencil, you could use this bigger blade that comes in the set, and then you would cover, you can see you could cover like
That would be
surface
good if you were
area.
doing like a whole wall or something.
Yeah, that's really helpful when you have bigger projects. And you can also use these if you're wanting to do like a cross hatch texture on a piece or whatever, and you don't want to use a brush. There's a lot of applications. You're very good at that.
You know, it's my first time.
How do you like the feel of your blade? They're
Like it.
squishy and they feel good in your hand. I'm a texture freak. I don't like things that don't feel good in my hand. Ask Debbie. Well, we were looking at clothes in Vegas.
Oh,
I
you
was
should
like,
you should do the whole little walkthrough and the little voice you did.
I'm like, this is scratchy. Oh, that's too tight. No, it needs to be softer. I'm like, look at those hemlines.
Tight on my arms.
It's tight on my arms. Like I like to
can't
be.
pull it over my head. It messed up my hair.
No pullover sweaters. I'm like, cut them down the middle. Give me a cardigan for when I have a hot flash. So I'm the same way with my brushes.
Do I need to prepare for that?
I mean, I do have hormones sometimes. Not a lot because I need to get that taken care of, but it happens. And I'm thinking about my friends that do have hot flashes. You gotta have a sweater that you can just unzip.
Let me see if I can get this higher so you guys aren't getting that weird angle. We're hitting the super close-ups today. There we go, that's better.
No, this is just straight up aviary with salt wash. So it will dry lighter, and then when we seal it, it'll be darker. And the other thing, we're not gonna, you could just leave it like this. I think it would be beautiful to just have the stain behind it. So, especially if you were gonna do like a cream color. So picture this with like tarnished pearl, and I feel like it would look like an antique lace. So that would be fun, but in this case, we're gonna let it completely dry. Then
This
we'll
would also
paint.
be fun with the horse one.
Yes. The horse one
Really,
that we
any of
did.
the stencils, they're all the same thickness. These ones just happen to be repeating, but we do have some fun tile stencils that we didn't use a lot because we didn't actually have any tile projects when we came out with them, except for a couple here at the house. But, you know, if you've got something coming up, we've got a lot of repeating pattern stencils.
Kim says, I get the texture thing, and Tegan says, I can't stand scratchy clothes either. Yeah, it's funny because I am not a fashionista, so me shopping for clothes is a lot different than Debbie shopping for clothes, and I also get tired very fast. So after a few hours,
I don't know that you get tired. You do have staying power if you've got a good project. You get bored.
Yeah, after a couple hours, I'm like, all these clothes look the same. And some of the vendor booths had too much. Can you guys see? Let's show them. Look at the difference. See how much lighter it is in the middle? That's what aviary looks like when it's dry. It's darker on the edge. Some of the vendors had messy booths, and I couldn't find my way through it.
We are getting a little bit of crackle, also good.
Nice.
Are those dry? I'm gonna go
Yeah,
take
those
this
are ready.
outside.
So you can take that outside.
Oops,
and
arm
let
in
those
the
dry and
arm in the
we'll work on
camera.
these.
Sorry, guys. Okay, do we need to paint the base of that at all? I can move to the back to do these next stencils. if you need
Lisa
to
said I
paint the
can't
base.
do wool anything. Let's see. Vicky says, biscuits and gravy is a nice cheap breakfast and it sticks to your ribs. It also sticks to your love handles, but hey, you know, I feel like it's harder to like catch and tackle a thicker person, right? So maybe I'm ready for the zombie apocalypse.
Okay, so do we need to paint this, Jamie?
What?
We're not doing texture on top of this, right?
Yeah, we can just paint this, but this is just gonna go white. But let's do these drawers first and then we'll see where we're at with time.
The video's about the texture today.
Yeah, the video is more about the texture and the stenciling because when we get those all the way finished, we're gonna go white over the top of them and then wet distress to bring back the raised stencil.
Yep.
So this, we're gonna just use a portion of this stencil. Do you want me to wash that off for you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go scrub this off.
Okay, I'll answer questions. So
You
we're gonna
wanna-
wash that stencil off and then we're going to bring it back, and instead of doing like an all over, we're just gonna use a portion of the stencil kind of on the side here. I think sometimes people think with the all over, you always have to use the busyness of it, but I like to pull little pieces out of every stencil and then reuse them. That way you can get more uses out of one style. So there's like leaves on that one, there's birds, so you can use them in different ways to create different looks.
It's gonna be a sec. Do you want to show them the new brushes since you told them about them?
Oh, you guys want to see the new brushes? They're not up on any website yet, so you'll have to be patient with us.
It should be hopefully by
Yeah.
next day or so.
We'll get them up for our retailers first, and then we'll get them on the retail site. So these are the new brushes. They come in 4 different sizes. And they have some of the upgrades. We've gone to a stained matte handle, so the stain penetrates it, so hopefully it won't flake off. Sometimes the old one, if it was left in water too much, the finish would flake off. You're not supposed to leave them sitting in water. That's not the best application. Another thing that's new with these is the stain and the sealer goes all the way down underneath the handle, not just to here. So that will help with expansion and contraction if they are in water. They're softer, but they're still just as stiff as the other brushes, and the sizes are a little bit different. We had some last time that were really similar. So this would be like a really good universal one for most stencils because it's good size for medium projects. And then these two are good for like little details because the smaller the area of your stencil, the more you want a little brush to get down into there. So these are the 4 new ones, and they all have the logo. So yeah, these are the new brushes. And these are kind of my babies because this is the first time that I've had to find my own. Well, I guess we found our own manufacturer with the decoupage paper. The stencil manufacturer, we kind of just found each other randomly, but I searched and probably talked to 50 different vendors before I found and settled on this brush manufacturer. They have a factory in the US and a factory in Thailand. Some of their parts come from Thailand and then they are shipped over to the US and then they are assembled here in the US. So that was really important for me. Some places are just like, just go straight to China. And I wanted to make sure they were manufactured and that we could control the circumstances. So,
yep, all the quality control goes through their US plant.
Yep, and they have their own factory in Thailand that puts together some of the parts. So they can control like the way that people are treated, the working conditions, things like that. And they've had that factory for many years. So super excited about that. And this factory, they've been in business. This particular brush company has been in business since the early 1900s and it's family owned, so all good things.
All right. Mostly dry, mostly clean. You can see I didn't work super hard to get the old white swan off. It's okay. It helps to show you what the pattern looks like. You see the little bird?
The little bird is cute. So what I'm thinking is, let me look at that. Let's do the bird because it's kind of on a tree.
Okay.
And just do this portion and then maybe a flower section.
So do you want it off center, like over here? Or?
Yeah.
All right.
Because we'll probably just do a simple pattern on each side. Hold on just a second. Is this the edge? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's the edge.
I just want to make sure we're stenciling the right side because I want to stencil it on me.
Let me grab a plate real quick.
Okay. Salvation solution on the nail polish so it doesn't bleed through. I think we'll be okay.
Am I doing this with just regular aviary or the salt wash mix?
Will stockists have them soon? Yes. So first they will go for purchase on the stockist page, and then we will get them up on the retail page after that. So we're working on them. We have them in our hot little hands. All the boxes are at our location. So super excited. I've got to photograph them. That always takes forever. Okay, now here's the problem. I have to photograph these, so I'm going to give you Where's the prototype brushes?
The prototypes are in there.
In where?
In the drawer. There was a couple of them.
All right, I'm gonna give you the prototype brush. So this one doesn't have our logo, but I don't want any paint on my new ones till I photograph them.
And I'm just gonna use regular aviary. And this, here, I'll just show you real quick. Offload on everything. So this prototype brush we had sitting at the shop. So when I say offload, like I got my brush all kind of greasy, I'm just gonna wipe it till it's almost dry. You see that there? Now I'm gonna go with the stencil.
And you don't need, like Zeb has paint all over the sides of that. You only need to like dip your brush in the paint about that much. Because you're never using the sides.
Well, I used it to scoop the paint out. And I probably could swirl on this. I've got my brush dry enough. But I am holding the whole stencil down over the serpentine kind of arch here.
You can also, if you want to do this technique where you're just using a portion of the stencil, use painter's tape where you don't want paint, and that helps you stay in the lines. We don't worry, we can always like lightly sand it and put white paint over it.
Yeah, you can mask it off too. I'm being careful. I think this brush is small enough that I can get in here and not get it all over. Sorry, my hand's probably blocking most of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Oops. So who has fun fall projects? I know a lot of you are still in heat. It was 110 in Vegas and their fall won't come in for a while, but you can already feel it changing. We hit August and the nights are getting cool and we're ready. I'm ready for the summer to be over. I love fall the most, but I also love winter. I know some people are like, ew, cold and snow. I'm like, bring it on. I love it because I can never get cool enough in the summer. I can definitely put lots more clothes on in the winter.
You usually don't. Scott's
Yeah,
out there mowing the lawn in shorts when it's like starting to get cold in the fall. All right, hold on. I have a question real quick, Zeb. Let's see. Is the big stencil brush the size of the little C? No. So the big stencil brush that we still have is from our old manufacturer. The 4 new brushes are smaller than our old biggest brush. And we still have our old biggest brush that like transfers as a wax brush. That's going to take a little bit longer to develop. So we decided to go with these 4 first and then work on that brush separately. So that'll probably come in another 2 to 3 months. But we have plenty of those in stock. So
can you guys see that little bird sitting there?
Big fat round ones.
Little bird hanging out here on the tree.
Cute.
All right, where's the other one?
All right, let's grab it back there.
I'm gonna put this out to dry too so we can distress and do what we need to on it. You wanna set that one up and I'll get another one?
Yeah, so this is gonna go, so we're just gonna stencil the other side of the other drawer. Make sure it's correct. So we'll stencil on this left side over here. I actually have a little bit area where I didn't get white paint like super thick because it was wet when I brushed the second coat, but we're gonna stencil over it so I'm not worried about it. Wonder Girl says it rained for 3 months here in Texas. I'm not ready for fall yet. And Laura says that stencil is everything. Yeah, we love, so the 12 stencils, we found some vintage and antique hand painted wallpaper. And so we used them as inspiration for the bird and the horse toile that we came out with. So usually like our inspiration for stencils comes from older pieces, signage, things that we find, and then we replicate them. Lisa says, I'm excited, that's the stencil I bought. Is that a dresser we're keeping or selling? We're gonna be selling this on our website. So if you go to jamirayvintage.com, under furniture, you can see all the furniture we have for sale. Those prices include the shipping, which can be kind of spendy. And then we also sell them in our store. We have 2 pieces in the garage right now. We've got to get photographed and up on the website.
We're ready for new, bigger space, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we have so much inventory just sitting around that's not out because we don't have room to put it out on the floor in the other shop. So this one I'm doing just a little bit of a pattern over here and it had a bird up in the corner. So it's gonna look slightly different.
The mirror will be painted in the white. So the bulk of this is gonna be white with the aviary peeking through. And then we'll do a clear wax and probably like a black or a dark wax, maybe a little gold, because you know that's my new jam. And it'll give it kind of a French antique wallpaper look. That's kind of my hope. We'll see.
Uh-oh, that's a lot of shifting. Luckily, my finger didn't move, and they're easy to line up.
Cute Jane. I love fall and winter. It is my Welsh blood. Bring on the cool temps.
Yeah, let's do it. Come on, Jane. Let's go have some winter festivities.
Do you know when you'll be starting?
Go skating, do some apple picking, you know, make some cider.
We have a question. It says, Nancy wants to know when we'll be starting on the church building. That should be happening here, hopefully the end of September, beginning of October. A lot of the work that we're doing will be on the inside, which is great because it's going to start to get cold. Also, can you see my tan line? My wedding ring flipped off yesterday in the car while I was messing with it, and I got to go get it.
You see, so there's 3 birds total on this. The rest is just flowers and floral and like a tree almost.
Melissa Taylor, to purchase supplies, you can go to jamirayvintage.com. All of them are on there.
The link is in the description to the website if you need it.
Becky says, OMG, did I just catch a live? Becky, you did catch a live. We're live.
We are live right now. Okay, I'm gonna go here. We're gonna pull this back. I don't know if
Jane
you want
can
to
see my tan on my feet. Those are actually Birkenstock lines. You can see that that's what I wear all summer.
I have flip-flop tan line. You want to see? Do you want to see my tan line?
I feel like my tan line is a little, yours is like your shoe tan line.
No, I have flip-flop.
I can't see your feet.
Can you not see my feet? It's fine. It's what it is.
Zeb has like...
Also, the scar on my foot where the wire came through it a little bit ago. I've had a fun summer. It's been a summer of injuries. I didn't hardly get hurt at all working on the house, and now that we're done, I'm getting all kinds of beat up.
All right, I'm just making sure I didn't miss any questions. Yeah, so in the wintertime, we do have problems with not getting enough sun. We're hoping to put a bubble on the outside of the pool, and that will allow us to swim in the winter and the sunlight to get through, which will be great. I think that's going to be good for exercise, good for seasonal depression.
I don't get that, but Jamie,
Zeb doesn't get that.
Jamie by January, she's like, I gotta go somewhere sunny.
I usually go visit Debbie. COVID really killed
I actually really like it with the wood base.
Oh, you do? Well, maybe we should keep it wood. We can just fix the top and then dark and decrepit the whole thing. You want to do that? I see what you're saying, like the look is good. We can't do it on the live video, but we could. We can sand this down, get rid of the pink, dark and decrepit the whole base, and do the heart to match, and I think it would be good.
Yeah, let me show you. I don't know how much time we have, so I'm gonna kind of show you this coming together. You guys will get the idea. This is gonna go white, so it'll have the reverse. We'll go white with it, and then we'll bring the raised stencil back through with a little bit of distress.
Kai says don't show all your tan lines. We have about 10 more minutes, so let's go ahead and stencil the sides. I'll heat gun them and we can show them what it looks like to bring that raised stencil through the paint.
All right. Can you guys see that?
Oh.
Falling over. So so this is gonna get a whitewash or just paint over it. So that'll match these drawers. I think if we can get this wood and this pink grossness off, the dark and decrepit will do all the work we need to on this. Because this is coming off, it's just taking all the stain off too, so we'll have to make it uniform, and we don't have time to do that, and you don't want to, I'm going to use the sander, you don't want to hear that on the live video.
Yeah, so let's pull these drawers out, let's finish the sides on them and give it a little bit of a wash situation.
Okay.
Okay, so Brooke says, I'm painting over latex paint. Do I need to remove it all or primer it? Just sand it so that way it's smooth. Remove
if it's sticking on there good,
yeah,
you're probably fine. If it's all gummy and stuff, you probably need to strip that off and get rid of it.
Remove any bit that's peeling off of it. We did a video a few weeks ago with a bad latex, I think, spray paint job situation. It was like a little nightstand, and we kind of show you how we prep that. You can also use DIY's primer after you lightly sand it to give you a nice good surface to get started on. So there are a few options. Just kind of know that whatever the paint is on the bottom, that's as good as it's going to adhere to. Nothing that you put over the top is going to make that paint on the bottom adhere any better. So if it's peeling off or it's flaking off, you have to sand it to where it's secure before you put the paint over the top.
Okay, we're coming back up top.
Kind of like.
What do you guys think about the three-tone, the white with the natural wood base? What are your thoughts on that? And then the aviary coming through. Oh, I didn't even show that.
I think it'll look good. Melissa wants to know when we'll see how we finish it. Maybe we'll do Friday's video. We'll show you how we do the rest. We can take clips out of this live to catch people up and then show how we stain the dresser part.
Okay.
Deborah says, I love you carry plus size, especially boho style floral. Deborah, we have just, in the last few weeks, we just got a new boho plus size top in. Let me see if I can find the link for that. The thing with plus size is they're hard to find and they sell out quickly, but I buy them anytime I can. There we go, found the link. Looks like we have a 2X and 3X left in this top. It's really cute. Let me.
That's why. That was hurting my brain. So if you guys saw me struggling to line this up, I had the stencil upside down, and it was right side up this orientation, but it was flipped, so it was inverted. I'm like, why won't that line up? I'm about to lose my mind.
All right, I just dropped the link for you with our newest boho plus size top. We have that in one 2X and one 3X left in that.
So hopefully this salt wash is dry enough. I'm gonna try to just poke it on the wood here.
What is the top coat on those stencil drawers? Very pretty. We have not.
Haven't top coated them yet.
Haven't top coated them yet. Oh, what is the paint on the stencil drawers? The top one we're using white swan and aviary. Those are the colors we're using.
You know, when we were there, I did see a lot of color mixed with neutrals while we were at that magic clothing, whatever they're calling it. I still don't know what the name of the thing is.
It's magic fashion apparel, something or other. I'm like, I hate to say we're at the magic show because like people think we're at a show doing magic, and it's clothes. It's lots and lots of clothes.
But lots of fun colors like bright pinks, reds, oranges, blues, combined with neutrals like creams and blacks and things like that.
Oh, you did smear this side a little bit.
Yeah, I figured once we paint over it,
it'll be all right. And the other thing that we'll do is we'll come in with a little bit of dark wax, and that will bring the tone of the base of the dresser if we keep it stained, and it'll bring that brown tone into the drawers. So
I need you to scooch down.
I will scooch for you. My bum can go over here.
All right, it's dry enough. The tape is getting less and less sticky all the time, every time I put it here, so it's not affecting it, but it is holding it in place enough. It didn't pull. Ooh, that one. Can you get me a new piece of tape?
Yeah, they said that somebody wanted to know if we could do the top in aviary. We could, but not in.
I think we're gonna stain it and
I want
make
a
it
more
match the heart.
sophisticated look, I think. So that's what we're going for here. We'll see.
The aviary would look good. I think it would look really good with like a dark wax on it if you were just gonna do it as the top.
Are you sure that's dry enough to do that?
Yeah, it worked over there.
I did happen to order a new windbreaker that we won't have until November. That's super high quality company out of the UK. Fell in love with them, and it happens to be aviary in color. So I was like, that's perfect. I need that.
It has white and brass accents. It's really good. I
Jami
wanted one, and they were like, we don't carry our men's line in the US.
I know. We're gonna see if we can get some of their men's line that they're clearing out. Kai says, does the church sponsor third world countries to make clothing? So our church does clothing donations all over the world.
Anytime there's like any
yeah, they have a huge humanitarian
relief effort or natural disaster, they've got a lot of good relationships with most countries out there in the world, because we send missionaries all over the world, and unless the country has specifically said we can't proselyte there, we have a presence in the country worldwide. So they've got really good relationships, and we're usually one of the first, our church is usually one of the first boots on the ground with humanitarian aid. It's really fun.
All right, let's see. The green is aviary, the white is white swan, and Barbara wants to know if we're going to change the store. So the name. So the name will always be Jami Ray Vintage. We feel like it's really important to keep branding consistent. So everything is Jami Ray Vintage or JRV, because that's what people know.
Real quick, I helped Jami pick that name out like 14 years ago, and I designed her logo for her. I'm okay that it's just Jami Ray Vintage.
Well, Ray's your last name.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are like, how come it can't be Jami and Zeb Ray? I'm good, guys.
All right, I'm going to hand this off to you so we can paint this here in a little bit.
I'm going to pull this other one out here. Can we scooch that back so I can stencil this one? I think you guys have the basic idea, right?
Move the camera angle down there, and I'll get this finished for you.
Okay, we'll see if we can shoot her straight down, and I can do this on the floor. You see that okay? It's a long ways down. Yeah, Caitlin. Caitlin's like, Zeb's solid in his self-esteem. I don't need any extra self-esteem, we'll say that.
It would probably be best when doing this to wait for it to dry completely and not be heat gunning it. But in the effort of live TV.
Are you trying to get one so we can whitewash it?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Well, we were a little late because of the debacle, so I guess
no,
we
we're
can...
good. We got like 3 more minutes to being at an hour, so we're good.
We want to keep trying to use the StreamYard app. You know, I had all the stuff all lined up, made sure that the internet was running good. Like, I don't think we can get the internet running any faster than it was. It was really fast, and the stream still had trouble, so I don't know what to do. Like, in our area, we can't buy better internet. In fact, in a lot of areas, I don't think we could. I mean, it's pretty much the best here in Utah. It's very fast. So this one got a little muddy. This is the side that I smeared over here. But I think once we paint it, it's not going to be a big deal. And if it was bugging you and you were done and you're like, oh, that's a little smear, you just sand it and then go back over it again.
Yeah, no, this is good. This also reminds me of like a Venetian plaster technique.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're old world masters or anything, but you know, we're adequate DIYers over here. I'm gonna go back to comments. That's all dry and ready for you, so we can do the final layer.
We just need to paint it white?
We need to paint it white, then we'll have to heat gun it, and then we'll just wet distress it to bring back that texture.
Okay, I'm gonna go put this one outside. Well, I guess I can wait on that. But isn't that fun, guys? I think that's really fun.
That's way fun. Way fun. If you have questions, you can just always email customer care at jamirayvintage.com. Caitlin gets to me, or if you're on Facebook, you can just DM us directly on Facebook. Those are the 2 ways to get a hold of me. Caitlin responds to all the email, but if it's like a question directed towards me, then she'll get that over to me. If I responded to email all day long every day, I would never get anything done. No designing.
It's kind of the same in the live streams. We really try to like watch the conversations and catch your questions, but sometimes they scroll by too quick while we're painting and we never see them.
Yeah, but Caitlin's awesome. We probably text a million times a day. So as she sees stuff that she A, doesn't know the answer to, or B, stuff directly directed to me, she always forwards it on. All right, so let's get to this next step here. We've got this stencil texture. I was mixing those words together. All done and dry. It's still a little warm. We're gonna go cover it with DIY's White Swan.
This is 100% not watered down.
And you can see the
texture. You can still see it.
Yeah, you can see the pattern through the paint, which is awesome. We'll probably just do 1 coat just for the live purposes, and we might have to come back and do something else later. We'll see. In this case, we're doing multiple layers and adding waxes. It's a little bit different.
It's enough texture that I'm having to like wiggle the brush down into the design.
Let's see. Is the green color on my chair aviary? No, on my bar stools, they are olive, I believe. And if you go back, we have a short on YouTube showing how we finished our bar stools, and it shows the color of the paint that we used.
Yeah, olive is a Sweet Pickens milk paint. You can get it at the same website, it's there. But got some really good chippy on those.
The stain on this, we don't know because we didn't do it. But we will be using Dark and Decrepit on this. We'll put that video up Friday.
So if you're watching and you're like, oh no, all that texture, as soon as we distress this and bring it back a little, you can see it through the white. You can actually see it really well. But I think the camera's just blinding it because we painted it white. So it's not picking up the texture as much.
Lunchbox Lady says, I have a side table with issues. Don't we all, Lunchbox Lady? I feel like I got every piece of furniture with issues. I got it lined up. I was actually looking at my back porch and I saw that little vanity we bought at Round Top, and I remembered that somebody wanted me to custom, like, do something for them. And I don't do custom painting, so I should preface it with that. But she said, however I paint it, she wants to buy it. And I told her it could be 3 weeks or 3 months. So she said
we're probably coming up on the 3 months mark. Because we went to Round Top in March.
Well, she just asked for it maybe a month ago, so I'm still
okay.
good.
All right, so 1 coat on there. It's got a couple little peekaboos through that dark stain. Would probably take 2 coats to really get good coverage.
So we have a question. Will Farmhouse Finishes paint chip? It can if you wet distress it and coerce it, but just painting it on most surfaces, it will not chip. Sometimes you get a little chip and a little crackle, but not the way you do with regular milk.
So you can still see the texture even before we wet distress. It's
So
got like a really lacy effect.
You want to heat gun that one side over there, and I will get you a damp rag situation ready.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm gonna try to get a piece of it so we can show you the full effect. So do you want to just film this for Friday's video, like, because there's so many steps left to finish it?
Yeah, what we can do is we can pick out the steps we've already done and do voiceover, and then we'll do the rest. So people can watch to see it in real time, but if they don't watch the live, they can still understand.
So if you watched last week's Waste Not Wednesday, I filmed a little short that'll probably go up on a couple of other platforms. I don't know that we might put it in stories on YouTube. But how I planked that top and fixed that issue with the bad veneer. It took me like 5 minutes to fix that.
This can also be done, you guys, on signage, like not necessarily on furniture. This would be beautiful on a sign. If you did a textured finish, it would almost look like an antique ceiling tin, and then you can put like a wreath in front of it. Like as the holidays approach, you can be thinking about how to add texture to your decor. This would also be beautiful on ornaments, just like a little round with a raised texture stencil, little eye hook in top. I mean, there's a lot of different applications for this technique. The nice thing about stencils is when you invest in a good quality stencil, you can use it over and over and over again, so you really get your money's worth out of it. If you're just starting in DIY or flipping and you can't quite afford transfers or whatever yet, invest in a few stencils that you feel like you can get some versatility in design with, and then use them until you make your money back, then invest in more supplies. And that's kind of how you build up your DIY repertoire. I remember back in the day, I had like 2 or 3 tricks in my bag. I did not have all of them, and then now that we sell these products, I'm able to have fun with all of them. But just be thinking about the different ways you can use one product, so that way you can really get the bang for your buck. All right, here is a damp rack. I didn't get it super wet, so see if that works for you. We're gonna bring you guys in close.
Okay, so now you can now that this is drier and not shiny, you can really see
This
the
is
texture.
mostly just gonna be two-toned. The aviary is really just a like background situation. And once we dark wax it, it will take these stark white drawers and make them match better with the base. Notice says, this stencil would look good with metallic. Absolutely, it would look great. Maybe we'll have to play around.
We might need to let it dry
Do you need more water?
Well, I'm taking, it's coming off. It's the texture of the salt wash is holding the paint a lot better than the actual base of the dresser.
I think you need more water.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, let me get that a little bit more.
Let me get the rest of this damp again.
Kai says only we would do it live.
Well, naturally, Kai, we have to experiment for you so you guys can see what it's going to be like for your first time.
Lisa says she has all these supplies, so she can do this project. And Christy says, I saw a video where the piece was painted matte and stenciled the same color in gloss. I love that, like a tone on tone. So what you
I can go get this wet. You can keep talking to him.
What you could do is paint it, seal it, and then come back and do the stencil and then wax it, and then you would have more shine in the sealer than the wax, so you could get a similar look. Thanks, Caitlin. She just dropped the link to all these products. So we use the Bird Toile, White Swan, Aviary, and Salt Wash. We've got a few more that we'll do before we finish this, but we'll get that edited later this week. Do you want to use sandpaper?
Yeah, I think the sandpaper's
dry
gonna
that off
hit.
first, though. Like, like it's not wet. You don't want to do that wet.
Can you hand me a paper towel?
No, I mean like with the heat gun. You need to dry the water.
I was gonna dab it.
Yeah.
Because what I'm doing, so the dresser's a lot shinier, and that salt wash really just pulled that paint down into it, and so it's hard to wet distress. So I need to catch all the raised edges. Yay, heat gun! How mesmerizing is that?
Caitlin's dropping individual links for you guys.
All right, that should be.
And when we're no longer
plenty.
live, I will drop them in the description. Okay,
I hope I don't get this pink though.
Oh, get the new piece. It's right there. Is
That's
that too
like-
thick?
that's
Where would I find a new piece?
That's like
of?
60 grand. It's fine. I'll just rub it on my shirt. This is the $3 Hanes shirt from Walmart. It's fine.
I ordered that from Target. Thank you very much. Now it's aviary coming out. Oh, there we go.
Then I'm gonna come back through and wipe it off so I don't get dust all over everything.
And once we come back through, make sure you don't sand it smooth, because we'll come back through with clear wax and dark wax and really bring out the subtlety of the texture of the stencil.
The salt wash is still pretty fresh. Let
Well,
your salt wash dry longer than a live stream.
Just don't come past this line, it's still wet over here. You can just use the heat gun to, oh, there we go. There you go.
Just wiping the dust
That's
off.
beautiful. Okay, so this is just a really subtle way to add interest to your piece. And just imagine when we come back with clear and black wax, the black or dark wax will outline around the edge of the stencil and bring that forward. All right, let's put this in the drawer so that way they can see it with the stencil drawers that we did.
Yeah, Laura says that definitely shows how durable DIY paint is. We're over here. It's only been dry for a few minutes and we heat
No,
gunned
you need to
it.
come down because you want to see it down there.
And we're sanding it and trying to wet distress, and it's not wanting to come off.
We just did one coat of white on this top drawer and we did 2 coats on this. We'll probably only do 1 coat of white on this because we don't want to have to fight the paint. If you put too much paint, it's really hard to get it off.
I'm probably pull the. You know, this would be cool to do over the top of the white too. Like if we had painted it white and did this design over.
This is a really subtle texture that'll be a little bit more pronounced with the dark wax, but it is a really fun technique. I feel like
I gotta wax these drawers.
yeah, we're gonna have to make them slide a little better. A little wax and a little sanding and they'll work good. We'll probably wind up on this piece going with some white knobs. I think we have some still left. We'll probably keep the drawer pulls and paint them to match and then do like white knobs up here. We don't want to make it too busy. So I love the way that this turned out. We will get this finished and have an edited video up for you guys on Friday.
Here, hold that there while you're saying all that.
Okay, do I have it? You can give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you like this video. And make sure you hit up JamiRayVintage.com for the paint products and clothes that we carry and all the things. It's really becoming more like a mercantile.
Yeah, which I love.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I always wanted a mercantile.
We're gonna grab this. So this mirror was not original, but when we do the dark and decrepit on the dresser and the dark and decrepit on the mirror, it will make them match.
Hang on, I'm gonna set it there so you guys can get the full effect before we go. I'm just gonna set it in front so I don't drop it.
All right, here we
Now
go.
maybe we'll see if we can fit it up
You
in.
can see our front door from here.
There we go.
Okay. All right, guys, if you like this video, be sure to give it a, you got a hold of that?
I got it.
Give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Jami Ray Vintage for more
DIY and faraway pictures of
dressers.
half-finished projects.
Thanks for joining us today for Waste Not Wednesday and for every video that we put up. We appreciate you guys. Bye, guys.
Thank you. See you guys later.